Hi friends, it's Caitlin and welcome back to the Floating Rock Podcast. I hope you're having the most incredible day ever. Today I needed this. I really needed this today. You know when just the world throws like micro negativity at you and you're like, okay, this is cute, but it's kind of treading on my vibe. That was like a little bit of today, but it's okay because this is a safe space of love, light, and silliness and lots of cuteness. And that's the vibes, even though today's topic is not the most cute and silly ever, but that's okay because we're all in this together. So as we know, I just graduated from Chapman University and I moved home. We love it. But let's just start out with that. I think only 20% of everybody that I know who graduated with a job in their field, secured. So if that is you, you're incredible and awesome. But if that's not you, no, don't fret. Do not fret. Everyone's in the same boat. We're in a horrible place in just the world. So don't think it's all my fault. The job market's horrible. So just, while that's also not good news, don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some grace. But today we are talking about, I'm calling it almost like the rebuilding, the great rebuilding. If you listen to Mel Robbins, she says the great scattering is like college and whatever. But right now where my head is at is we're at the great rebuilding. And what I mean by that is kind of the main thing that's been on my mind has been, what life am I creating for myself right now? This is probably one of, if not the biggest resets that you ever get to have in your life. It's graduating college, it's moving somewhere new. Or even if you were living at home for college and you're not even moving out after, it's just a really new time of life. And it's a great opportunity and a little bit of an overwhelming opportunity to kind of build from the ground up, or what feels like the ground up. I think we all have a foundation of our lives of who we are, who we know, and all that stuff. But especially when you move somewhere new, even if it's back home or to a new city or just to a new house or apartment or whatever, it feels very new, and it really does feel like you're building from the ground up. You're not around all the same people, you're not around the same place, all that stuff. So that's kind of been what's swirling around my mind recently, so I thought I'd make an episode about it. For the time that I have been home, oh my god, it has just been still a whirlwind, and I think finally today marks the first day of I'm finally home for an extended period of time. Let's get this shit going. I feel like it's been kind of like a whirlwind since all of May, all the graduation festivities up until sort of now. It's been a lot. So while it is a little overwhelming, I am excited to get to building this new life of mine, and hopefully for you, this new life of yours. And even if you're not directly fresh post-grad, I think this could just be a fun episode to reevaluate your schedule and just how you're living your day-to-day, because I think that's specifically what I'm kind of rebuilding. And everything is a part of your day-to-day, what you're doing, who you're talking to, all that stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about today. I hope you enjoy it and maybe find some comfort in it too, because I am not quote-unquote the perfect college grad, new city, job from my major, on lock, whatever. And I will also, while I'm here, say that as a privilege. I think there are a lot of people who directly out of college, you're on your freaking own. Maybe you're already in college, you were on your freaking own, and your priorities have been grind, stay afloat, all that, and I applaud you. That is very admirable. I'm very lucky that is not quite my situation. My parents are nice enough and of the right stature to, let me live here, and, so just getting that out of the way too. But yeah, all of us will have different values and things at the top of our priority list during this time because we're all in very different situations, and I think I'll touch on that later too. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. And enough disclaimers. We all know the vibe here, okay? As I said, it kind of feels like we're starting from go, and it's a little bit overwhelming, but one of the best things that I have already found, also note, this is day one. This is day one of the rebuilding. I'm pouring cement onto the dirt. So some of this will come with in practiceness. So this is all kind of my thought process. Has much of it gone into practice? Some, but not all of it. But hopefully I'll check back in very soon once I get kind of the ball rolling. So yeah, anyway. Number one, do not stop having these conversations. I think it's so easy to kind of feel like you're being annoying and like, oh, like I just keep talking about how I feel about post-grad or how I'm going to schedule this or what jobs or whatever. Like, don't stop having this conversation, because what I have found so far is, number one, the more you talk about it, just the more you can tangibilize it and work with it, the more it's like this moldable clay that you can create a life for yourself out of. But when it's just swirling in your mind, not even coming out of your brain onto a journal in words or onto a podcast, like, that's what makes it even more overwhelming and complicated, and then just this post-grad tornado in your brain. So keep having these conversations in whatever form that you're having it, whether it's the emotions you're feeling or the tangible, what you're putting in your calendar, or the things you're applying for. Keep talking about it, because I feel like the big thing you gain is, number one, you find out people are in the exact same fucking boat as you. You feel less alone because people are sharing the exact same feelings as you, and that's very validating in this time. Number two, if maybe you're talking to your parents or talking to a friend or a sibling or a cousin who's older than you and they've been in this point of their life, it can also be very validating to hear from these people who aren't going through it with you that they've been there and they got through it, because look at them now. And thirdly, maybe you're friends with the overdoers, or maybe you yourself are the overdoer, and maybe this doesn't really apply to you. But maybe there are people who, quote unquote, have it all together. I think you'll also still find that they still have things swirling in their mind. Like, let's say they have the job, they have the house, the apartment, whatever. There are still things to be processing and figuring out right now, even though on the outside things might look perfect or how they're supposed to look. And on that note, with those sorts of people, find inspiration from them. Like, that is so cool and inspiring to look at your peers and what they're doing and take inspiration from them. And I don't know, I personally, I'm going to get to that too when it comes to like friends and stuff. Like, I love the idea of having friends that are around the same level or like better than you almost in a way, because it just keeps you on your toes, keeps you motivated, keeps you challenged, keeps you curious and all that kind of lovely stuff. Gives you some drive. Next is one of the bigger things I've kind of had swirling around recently, and that's been redefining, revisiting, reviewing your values. What's on the docket for you right now? Whenever people are asking me right now, so what are you doing? I mean, people I'm closer to and having a full conversation with or whatever, let me look. There are 6 things on my docket right now, and that's going to help me figure out what I'm going to fucking do with my life right now. So on my docket, just to share with you, and you can create your own docket too. And this is also interesting. I was just talking to my mom before the episode, just to gain some more knowledge. And it's so funny because I didn't tell her what the episode was about. I just said, so what were you doing after college? And it's so funny just the way that the world, maybe just America, just kind of measures life through work and through jobs. And all she listed was the jobs that she did. And I was like, wait, that's so funny. I was like, but what else were you doing? Like, who were you living with? What were you, So I don't know. On my docket too are things that are non-career related, or half career, half sort of not career related, sort of like the pod. But anyway, my docket is, number 1, the podcast. Growing it, just being consistent, still doing it. Yeah. Loving it, living it, all that stuff. Second is obviously writing. That's a big one. And that's going to be another one, I think, for some people who have more independent things like this, or independent, I'm going to call it majors, where it does involve a lot of self-practice. That's going to be a fun challenge that I'm going to attempt to like work into my schedule with my number 3 job. I am still looking for jobs. I'm not being like a full fucking bum, but I couldn't really apply because I was off the grid. Okay, it doesn't matter. You get it. But that's going to be interesting to sort of schedule in my time to do the pod and do my writing along with having a job to like make money, So yeah, number 3 is a job. Still on the hunt for that, but I've told you guys before, I'm gonna live my barista dream. Like, it's gonna be so fun. I also feel like as a writer, it is, and a podcaster actually, it is so important to have a job where you're like talking to people. And like, I think that's what's always allured me to like servicey things, and not like being a hostess at like a restaurant, but like I want to be a waiter, I want to be a barista, I want to be like kikiing right here, right now, because I think just like the more people you meet, the more people you can write, and just like the more stories you hear, all that loveliness. I just find so much more inspiration when I'm like constantly around people and hearing their stories and getting to interact with them. And I'm a freaking extrovert, so like it's fun. So yeah, number 3, a job. Number 4, networking. don't think I forgot. So that's definitely still on my docket as well. Keeping up with past networks, keeping up with past connections, as well as forging new ones. That's definitely on my docket, especially being in the film industry. Fifth, freaking health and wellness. Have you met me? Today, I went to a boxing class this morning, and I have like a 2-week free trial at this kind of yoga Pilates bar studio place. So I'm doing that later tonight. So exciting. But you guys know that's a very big part of my life, and I intend on keeping it that way. And I'm looking forward also to seeing how that works in with my job schedule and the pod schedule and the writing schedule, and seeing what classes I can still take and what days I'm going to go to the gym, what time. Gym time is so very different. Like, for so long, bestie girl Malia and I were nighttime gym people. However, at school, I'm a morning gym person. I'm like, wait, are we bringing morning gym back? So we'll see about that. And, all those classes and dance classes and Pilates and boxing. I have a lot of fun interests, and those do rack up. So back to the job thing. And lastly, fun. That's very important to me. Yeah, making sure that I'm having fun in my life, because then what's the point of anything? But yeah, whether that's, the idea is to hopefully travel at some point. Don't know when that's going to happen, but that's an idea. Things are in the works. And just, having fun with my life. We're all young. Like, have your freaking fun, whatever that might mean. It doesn't mean going out and spending hundreds of dollars every weekend, or going traveling. Like, just whatever you find fun and whatever I find fun, and making sure I get to the beach and go on my hikes and all that kind of stuff. That's my 6-point docket as of right now. Podcast, writing, networking, job / money, fun, and health and wellness. So obviously, your docket's probably different than mine. It might have more, it might have less, whatever. That's just kind of the categories of my life that I've really laid out on the table for myself. And why we're laying it out on the table, and why you're going to lay it out on the table, is you need your materials to build. You need to see the hammer, the wood, the nails, to see how you're going to start building from the ground up, quote unquote, this new post-grad life of yours. And like I said, all of this is a little bit more in theory for me right now, because it sucks that the job thing really does make such a big difference, because that is the only structured kind of thing where I'm answering to somebody else. But yeah, I'm excited to, once that is locked down, start building other things around it. And I think for you, depending on what is on your docket and what are your top priorities, truly your top priority could just be freaking getting that bag for necessity, or just because that's your goal right now. Or maybe your goal is graduation took the fucking living shit out of you and you need a mental health moment. Notice how that wasn't necessarily on my list. The dome has been okay, but I think also some of the things on my list attribute to my mental health as well. So just whatever's on the top of your docket, your list, and laying it all out like that, it really does help you figure out how you're going to be building this. It creates your values and what you're going to prioritize. Maybe if one week something takes more of an importance, okay, well, this is at the bottom of my list, so okay, I can drop the networking a little bit this week and then pick it back up next week, or whatever it might be. But yeah, I really think something that's been really helpful for me when just thinking about all of this is redefining and laying out all of my values. What are the facets of my life that I'm trying to mesh together to create Caitlin's life? Love it. Okay, and here's my longer little section. Reminding yourself of what is still the same. I think post-grad, all you're being fed and all you're thinking is, holy shit, nothing's the same, everything's different. Oh my god, I'm in a new place, new people, new everything. Even if you're moving home, that's different from school. Everything is different. That's kind of the feeling I've been getting, and sort of what everyone else that I've talked to is kind of feeling. Even if it is a different, but it's from your past, if you're just going back home to your childhood home, that's still different as a 22-year-old, 21-year-old, whatever. Anywho, so first of all, remembering what is still the same. For one, who are you? What is still the same about you? I think it's so easy to feel fully lost and just feel like it's just open vastness of and there's the rest of your life. That's terrifying. So remind yourself who the hell you are. What are your habits? What do you do every day? What are your personality traits? What are you good at? What are your hobbies? What are just like your practices? Who are you? Remind yourself of that. Right now, it is so important to fucking remind yourself of that. And the ways you're going to remind yourself are, maybe it is journaling. Maybe it is writing your affirmations of, I am a good writer. I'm a good podcaster. I'm a good friend. I'm kind. I'm this, I'm that. Affirming to yourself who you are. Maybe it's just practicing who you are. Maybe you are a freaking baseball player and, you don't do baseball anymore because you graduated. But go and find a way to keep doing that. Like, that's who you are. And maybe it's deeper than that, and maybe there is nowhere to play baseball for you anymore, and maybe, like, you aged out, whatever. What are you under that? You're an athlete. Go to the gym. Train like an athlete. Just remember who you are. Practice who you are, because that's what's going to be with you constantly throughout your life. However I raise you, what is the same that you don't want to be the same? This is such a good time to turn shit around, add new habits, take things away from your personality, or take away these bad habits of yours. Think to yourself, what has been the same for me for these past 4 years, for these past couple of years, from your whole life, that you're like, I am not bringing that into adulthood. This is such a pivotal time to be firm with yourself. I am not bringing that into my new life, into my adulthood. And obviously, it doesn't mean that you're going to fix that instantly. There are things, let me think, do I have anything? Okay, this is, see, look, you're going to hear me say this. This is a hard one. I feel like I'm just done being timid. I mean, frick, I was fucking a little timid this morning in my boxing class. I got out of my shell a little bit, but it's all about defining to yourself what is no longer going to be happening. And then that's how you work on it. I think that's a big one for me. Is it's easy for me to kind of crawl in my shell sometimes, but I've had so much growth, and I feel like I've talked about that with you guys as well. And I think this is an especially big time where I feel like, especially if you are going home or going to somewhere new, it's really easy to go into your old bad habits or old bad personality traits. Not to say that being timid is bad, but you know what I mean. So tell yourself, what are we not taking with us? And define that and write it down and keep working on it, and affirm to yourself, I am outgoing, I am open, I am confident, like all that kind of stuff, depending on what your, thing that you're trying to nix is. But yeah, what do you want to change going into this new chapter of your life? Because it's a perfect time to do it. Or what do you want to add? Like maybe it's not that you were the opposite of this one trait, but maybe you want to add maybe a hobby. Maybe you are like, wow, I feel like I only really focused on school the entire time. Maybe I want to start knitting, or I want to start going and doing this new form of exercise. Like, this is just such a good time to add and take away from your life. And remember what's the same, and if you want to keep it the same or not. On that note, who you know. Your friends. I think that's a huge one post-grad, is what's not the same as your fucking friendships. You're not near them anymore, at least for most of us. So for one, remind yourself these people are still your friends. Because you're separated by distance, it hasn't changed anything. You guys are still friends, especially this fucking fresh out of school. So remind yourself of that. Cold call them. Annoy the shit out of them, because I know that if anyone called me right now who I'm friends with, I'd be like, oh my God, that makes me so happy. I know that everyone, even if they're not even freshly post-grad like this, anyone appreciates a cold call to just check in. And, if you're friends, you're freaking friends, and you appreciate that. And also, I think a missed call that leads to a text conversation is just as good. And on this note, I think another big thing to think about, especially on my docket brain as well, is how are you going to re-navigate these friendships to make them work? So my friend Erin and I, we've been kind of talking about this a lot towards the end of school, and we just were kind of talking about how I always send like Snapchat videos to Malia, but Erin hates opening a voice note, a video. She just hates that shit. So I'm not going to do that. And so now it's about redefining, how am I going to communicate with Erin? And that's going to be different than how I communicate with Malia. Granted, I'm home with Malia now, so that's different. But how I communicate with Erin is going to be very different than how I communicate with my friend Skylar, and versus blank and blank and blank and whoever. Wait, that's so cute. I think she's going to hear that, and it's a fun little shout out. So yeah, redefining that. How do you guys communicate the best? Is it voice notes? Is it Snapchat videos? Is it texting? Is it cold calling? Is it scheduled calling? Is it playing video games together? I think one of my friends plays Minecraft with her friends, and I'm like, okay, if that's how you do it, hell yeah. Is it just sending memes and communicating on social media? Just figuring out how you're going to sustain these friendships, because if you don't put in the work, they're not going to work. And that's definitely something I still need to work on. I am not perfect on that note at all, but that's something that's definitely on the top of my mind and should be a tangible thought of yours. Is not just like, oh yeah, I'll give them a call, but like really think about who is important to you, who do you want to keep in your life, and how are you going to communicate with them, and even have a conversation with them about, okay, we want to keep this friendship going, but how is that going to work? How's that going to look? And figure out what works best for you guys, because that would suck to just lose a friendship because of miscommunication or no communication at all on how you're going to communicate. Funny, right? Oh, and on that note, as we know, like I said, for better or for worse, are there people that aren't serving you anymore? Are there friendships or relationships that just, you're like, you know what? I think I outgrew this. Right now is a perfect time to think about that. Maybe take a longer time to respond. Maybe, I mean, if you're forward like that, tell them, I think it's time we take some space, but this is such a good time to like redefine the roster of your life. Who do you want in it? Who do you not want in it? Distance yourself from those people who truly aren't serving you anymore. Because like I said, you're taking these people into your whole new chapter of life, and it's a great time to, be a little bit more selective. And also on that note, it's a great time to be putting yourself out there intentionally and finding new people to be friends with. And also noting to yourself, with all of this 4 years of experience and your whole life experience as well, or just, if you didn't just graduate, your whole life's experience, you're learning the kind of people you like and dislike. And it's okay if you don't love people, like whatever. And it's about finding what kind of people you like, what kind of people you vibe with, and seeking out those people. And maybe if you find someone that checks a few boxes, but then there's like some core things you're like, I don't know, maybe moving forward with that relationship, if you are going to move forward with it, with a little bit of caution, like if you're like, oh, these kinds of people have hurt me before, I'm a little sus, but we do, I don't know, maybe work at the same place or this and that, whatever, or maybe there are things you really do like about them. Maybe you are going to move forward, but have that air of caution of like, okay, but I know that this kind of person does this, so I'm going to be a little cautious, maybe keep my arm's length distance, keep them around as this kind of friend, but maybe not this kind of friend. So that's a really big one, is defining to yourself like what kind of people you tend to gravitate towards, even just like really broad things, of just what you've learned throughout your life. Like, oh, I actually kind of like the shy people, and like making sure that you talk to like the shyer person in your Pilates class, because like, wait, some of my best friends are like pretty shy, and then you can break them out of your shell. It's great, or vice versa. And that's not to say cutting off the possibility of other people that maybe you've never experienced anyone like them before, but just, I don't know, it's nice to think about your past friendship successes and finding more people who are like that. Oh, also on the note of the things that are the same and people and whatever, your network. I hope from the networking episode, a big point was planting seeds. Your networking is planting seeds to later grow fruit, and hopefully throughout college, or maybe these past couple months or years or weeks, whatever, you have been networking. And so this is a great time to maybe get back in touch with your past connections and maybe see if there can be any fruits from your labor, or also just making new connections, especially if you're in a new place or anything like that. Keep the networking going, whether it's talking to old connections or making new ones, like a great time to be doing that. Oh, this was one that I got from my mom, and I think it was really important, and I didn't think about that, but I totally agree. Do not be afraid to pivot, and do not shame yourself for pivoting and anything around that. You are not a failure if what you're doing right now is not a job related to your major. Let me say that again. You are not a failure at all if what you're doing right now is not a job related to your major. Because I feel like that is something that I hear a lot of, and it's just this like negativity around maybe people not quite feeling the same passion of what they majored in 4 years ago, what they started college doing. Maybe it's they just couldn't get a job. Maybe it's any number of reasons, or maybe it's kind of something like I'm doing. I intentionally did not get a job in my industry because I wanted to go home and take some time to just make some money doing a service job, to work on my craft for the podcast and for writing, to spend time with my family. I got grandparents here, hello, and cousins and all that stuff. But give yourself grace for any sort of pivoting that you do. Maybe it's you went to a different city than you thought you'd be. Maybe you're back home. Yeah, like I said, if you're not in the job that you exactly thought you'd have post-grad, give yourself so much grace, because my mom actually told me 50% of all adults that she knows are not doing what they went to school for. Isn't that fucking insane? And I think it's so terrifying, especially if you went to a school like Chapman. It's a little expensive. That is terrifying that you spent so much money and so many years studying this one thing and then you're not doing it anymore. Like, you're joking. But that's normal. And especially at this time, if you're anywhere near this post-grad time or any time in your life at all, the earlier you catch it, the earlier you can change things. Like, if you're going to commit to a life of whatever you majored in and you kind of feel like, I actually don't like that, if you commit to it now, you're going to keep feeling the exact same way into the future. But right now is a perfect time to maybe try something new. If you truly in your gut feel like what you majored in or whatever is not really your vibe anymore, like, this is the best time. You're on the ground floor. Like I said, we're in the rebuilding stage. What better time than the ground floor? It feels like graduation was the end all be all, but it's truly the beginning. And especially when it comes to pivoting, and like, if your gut is not committed to what you spent the past 4 years doing, I think that is better than spending the next 50 years feeling the exact same way. I don't know. I'm very much for people following their gut and their dreams. And I think with any amount of hard work and perseverance, like, people can make shit happen. So that's all I'm saying. That's my encouragement if you're feeling that way, or maybe if you're already in the process of pivoting, just give yourself so much grace. So many people are not doing exactly what they went to school for. People who went to Harvard aren't using their degrees. People who went to community college aren't using, you know what I mean? Like, people are allowed to pivot. It's your life. It's not what's written down on a paper. But yeah, I think that's a really big one. I think there are so many expectations for post-grad. And like I said, all those facets of where you are, who you know, what you're doing, all that stuff. Give yourself so much grace. Nobody is a failure. Everyone's path is completely different, and you need to give yourself grace for that and appreciate where you're at and work with what you have to get what you want. Okay, and lastly, I guess I did just kind of say this, but college did really feel like a rat race. It felt like graduation was kind of the end. It felt like, okay, and then if you don't have a job, then you're just going out on a limb and it's like you just got tethered away from the spaceship and they cut it and you're just floating around and you're lost and all that. But I do believe that this is the ground floor. I call it the great rebuilding because, yeah, you have a foundation of who you are and who you know. Like I said, there are a lot of things that are the same, but this is the opportunity you have to start really building your life. Like, imagine your life is a building, right? Post-grad, I feel like that's the ground floor, and what you do right now can truly impact your future so much. And that's not to make it seem stressful. I think a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh my God, that's so much pressure. I'm like, no, like, that's so awesome, and to get that opportunity of youth and of time is incredible. You have so much time. Do not forget that. No matter what age you are, you still have so much time. Crazy things have happened to people in a freaking week, So you're on the ground floor, you're building up. And also just know, I don't know, it made me think of whenever I make the pod too, for some reason I always think about my mom listening as well. Not that I have to give my mom advice, but let's say you're a 50-story building, I don't know, maybe 50 years old. Every floor looks the same. It's always like the da-da-da-da, and there's this many rooms, whatever. The top floor can still be a penthouse. The top floor can still be completely different, and the floor above that can be completely different too. You have so much control. Take advantage of where you are. This is just the start. It is so exciting. I'm so excited for you. You have full control over your life. You have so much ambition, and I know that your dreams are going to be accomplished at whatever timeline the universe wants for you. And like I always say, the universe has better things in store than you could even imagine. So take the luck and the opportunities that are given to you. Talk to everyone. Give yourself grace. And yeah, I think those were definitely some affirmations I need too. But I believe in you. I believe in myself. Yay. And we will figure this out, and we will rebuild and build up the most incredible lives that we all deserve and that serve us so well, and most of all, make us happy and make us fulfilled. And yeah, I hope that your summer is off to a great start, and I hope that this might have been a little bit helpful, comforting, motivating, whatever you want. And yeah, thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate the pod 5 stars. Please. Wait, this is so funny. I'm like, new goal is 25. And also, like I said, okay, summer is the summer of social media, so follow the pod at floating.rock.podcast on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. I've been doing that. Maybe you're actually watching on YouTube right now, but yeah, follow the pod. We got this. I believe in you. Peace and love and peace. Come back next week. Bye bye.